I don't know how much information Honey Badger has. He's taking some shots out, trying to delay a push. But we talked about mental games. They could take this as bait. Oh, he spots one, but it's going to get dropped. Roth has been holding that angle. And Honey Badger being a little too aggressive, a little too, shall we say, liberal with his movements. And Shinboy, who was almost there for backup, forced to just U-turn and drive away.
This is PUBG, a matter of moments. Separate out what could have played out in that position. But that could put them along that same line Dignitas just regrouped at.
Yeah, I think they're running away from Systematicos into Dignitas. Dignitas are now holding that little bit of a hill dip valley on the far east end of Death Road, but yep. I'm looking on the map. It's happening. It's happening. Sparking gets one. Sparking gets low. Sloats gets finished off. And no, they're not in the dip itself. They're just in the compound just next to it. But eUnited, again, they lose one, but they're continuing to commit to Death Road.
I mean, getting Death Road 4-1 in this position that's pretty close to center, as well as having those sight lines, is going to be big for them. Is really the closest neighbors that they have is going to be Systematicos to the north, who is harassing them, Fiumba, and Dignitas. They're now safe from all of them. Troglodytes is going to be coming in along that Rajak angle that we saw.
Final few rotations coming in, including Gascans away from Sosnovka. If there was any team that would sort of keep a backup in play, it would be them, and maybe that's what Hikerman is doing. They could be doing a 2-2 across the bridge, who are trying to make sure that they don't get chaotic and excited when they don't need to be. But let's get back to the game, because we see phase number 2 shift over towards Soniqs and Troglodytes. No water, no Sosnovka.
Flanking through the low ground point and seeing if maybe they can get back to vehicles, get back into a positional. That looks like that's all they want. They want vehicles, get away.
Show is looking towards Young Kings right now. Oh, Jayo with the angle. Adapt tried to retreat or at least reposition, but they are getting punished for it, but a little bit of an overextension. Finds a rock to hide behind, but is not done fighting. Pulls out the 3X. Grenade as well. Can
No
you go for
fear.
more?
This guy just walks into it, gets harassed on one angle. He's like, that doesn't matter. I still believe I can kill the rest of you. Walks through the gunfire as he moves forward. Gildemo, though, has to be careful, as it's going to be a continual harassment of nades coming back in his direction, and it's going to keep ticking, but not enough to take him down just quite yet. RichyB, seeing maybe he can play this low ground point to flank around, get a different angle on what's happening. New circle does pop. This fight is inside of circle, so that could slow it down just a little bit. The rest of the teams that are going to be down to the southeast are going to have to make a reposition. Troglodytes, though, trying to make sure that they use grenades to push everybody on Adapt further and further back to give them the time to get the res and get the meds back into position. It looks like that might be the case, as Adapt is trying to get out of position.
Adapt are in a really rough situation right now because they're trying to retreat from this fight, but they're retreating into other caravans of rotations. Fortunately, Troglodytes is able to get the revive, as you said, and no one is trying to take over this position. They're not trying to go for the high ground, assuming that it's already been claimed, which, as you can see, it has been. And everyone is looping around to the west side, trying to take the Pachinki field. If not Pachinki itself, TSM is here to stop the push by Black Tigers. CGG goes down, and the rest of Black Tigers forced to U-turn away.
Oh no, Fiumba, this is not the area you want to drive through. Dignitas on one side, Soniqs on the other as they're rolling through. It's going to be a little bit problematic for them. Dignitas, though, wants to leave position, so right at that moment is going to be whenever Fiumba rolls through, and they're going to be able to get those trenches just to the east of Pachinki. TSM, though, have themselves a position to play. Black Tigers that had to reposition away, now harassing Dignitas as they roll through. Tries to get some retaliative shots, but no, it's going to be Synergy that lines up and hits it to give a little bit more of a reprieve to Dignitas as they make their rotation.
Prince Ali comes in with the save. Dignitas still alive somehow, Sparking healing up. He's actually already found a position way north of Pachinki where the rest of Dignitas are trying to rotate, wrapping all the way around towards the northeast side as quickly as they can.
Oh, Systematicos.
Oh, yeah, trying to play on foot up against Trog. And wait, Trog are dead.
Well, they managed to get them, but walking through the angle, they now have to be very careful, as it's going to be SSG that has a high ground on them, I believe. Not in the too big of a rush for them to move just yet. Okay, I was going to say, Space Station Gaming knows exactly where they are lined up. They were just waiting to get into point. Systematicos in a little bit of trouble at the stage, to say the least. So if maybe they can get some counter shots or maybe a grenade of their own to land right in the thick of Space Station Gaming, but doesn't look like that's going to be the case. Romero in a little bit of trouble, gets spotted out. That's one, that's two. Roth makes it look easy and steps away from it.
Almost gets dropped, 9 HP, but yes, still 4 up for SSG. Cleaned up this engagement, cleaned up what Systematicos started after taking out SSG, and now they're in a very, very strong position. Well,
Top of each other.
Shift is good for this fight. Dignitas just need to keep eUnited out, and hopefully Punich has an angle, I think, from this plateau stairway, whatever you want to call it. It's good, and a good grenade from Shrimboy to knock Valley8 out. That's the hard flank taken out. Wait, Valley8's with someone. You never really see that, but Corsac, he's going to have to try and take on this fight himself without backup.
I mean, it's Corsac, though. This guy has been putting on a show as we move through each stage individually. eUnited has leaned into his firefighting capabilities. Do note that Fuma also has capabilities to potentially harass. Synergy, you can also see rolling through a potential area around, but it's going to be eUnited, seeing if Waldo can maybe find a little bit of an angle to assist from. Corsac does have the high point inside of everything that's going on, but it's a matter of what type of play are they trying to make it. Oh my god, this is just so back and forth, steps through it, and there you go, does manage to line up the shots into it. Now we're going to see Sparking on the other side, see how he opts into playing through this one. Are we going to see maybe a reposition? Punich still playing lows, Corsac still dancing around the top. Waldo's now trying to track Sparking just a little bit, but it's a fight going off on so many different positions right now.
Because no one can get into the center because it's all field. That's what everyone's fighting for, the last semblance of terrain before the Pachinki field gets as flat as you can imagine. Fuma right now trying to face off against Gascans, who are heavily wounded. But now back here on the north side, Punich. Oh, TSOK's coming in. This isn't even eUnited. This is Wildcard with an entire surround of this engagement. So eUnited do get taken out, but Dignitas now need to remove themselves from this. Look at Wildcard's position. They found an opening, and they pulled the trigger on locking Dignitas out of this circle.
And see, Dignitas doesn't know exactly how close that threat is to them, so they're going to have to slow it down just a little bit. BT opting into moving into Pachinki itself. TSM has been holding it down for quite a while, and you saw the fact that somebody tried to roll into their neighborhood didn't work too well for that team, but it's going to be Synergy also trying to get a little bit of foothold to the south of Pachinki. Just like you were talking about a second ago, Cam, this is a lot more empty of a circle than these teams want it to be with 41 alive. That's why we're seeing a lot of these edge fights, or people just clinging to a little bit of a dip off at the side of it. 300, though, has a little bit of vision on what's going on with Oath, but Oath is managing to hold the lineup. Vox goes down late in Extreme now to figure out how they're wanting to handle what's going on. Tries to go for a little bit of a pitch play off to one side of it, but gets spotted out as well. And this is just absolutely problematic for 300 now.
Had an opportunity on to Balefrost, but wasn't able to land the shots, and now Oath are able to stabilize their own fight. It's all into Extreme. A couple of good shots in, but doesn't get the knock. And now he can try and push into the next tree, but he has a difficult 1v3 ahead of him.
Bold, to say the least, coming out from 300's Extreme. Does line up into one, gets the knock onto him, but in the end, it's going to be Kickstart that gets the kill onto Extreme, getting now a little bit more space to work with as they have the space where they can reset, get their health up. Who doesn't have space, though, is going to be Young Kings, SSG, who are right next to each other. Swagger's already gone down inside of this fight. Now Young Kings, right on the edge of the zone, has to be very careful. Circle does pop right on top of Soniqs in this position, with all of the fields to the west of them just wide out in the open.
I guess this is when every other team that's not the Soniqs makes the decision to go for kills. I mean, TSM also have a position, but other than that, it's all fighting on the edge. Fuma trying to finish off Gascans. They've been holding off against each other for quite a while. It has allowed Gascans to get the revives necessary, but the grenades come in. DraftKings gets knocked. Push is continuing. Captain Hand's also down. It's all into one.
It is so hazardous trying to make the push through these positions, as it's just so many blind angles. Only Adam goes down inside that exchange here. They should be able to get the res. They should have a moment to reset. It's going to be Soniqs that has range and vision on what's going on. Space Station Gaming still contending with Young Kings that is very close to them. While this is happening, Oath is also repositioned and looks like they're trying to get involved in what's going on. And one has to be a little bit careful as now Kickstart has a little bit of vision in that position, and Young Kings finding themselves now pinched between two different teams.
Yeah, where can they go? They have to pick one of these two teams to fight, and SSG and Oath, they're both very, very rough teams to try and engage with, to say the least. Wildcard versus Dignitas. They've been giving Dignitas some space to work with because they're not trying to upset their whole game. But now the smoke's coming into play. Zrayven takes a bit of damage from the grenade. I don't know if he's known exactly, but now the set comes in. Young Kings, they drop one, they drop Bale, but now Flux and N1 are also taken out.
Jumps out, and it is just a catastrophe after that one. Oath does manage to get the retaliation shots back into it. Should be able to get the res as well. Wildcard, though, still finding themselves in some trouble as Dignitas is managing to creep forward. Remember, it was Wildcard that inadvertently helped them earlier by taking out eUnited. Now Wildcard's having to contend with Dignitas, who is moving slowly and steadily into this position, and it is just Zealot that is up, hoping that he gets a side angle onto it. Does manage to take down Sparking, but Punich should be coming completely aware of this now, and oh, Zealot's going to go ahead and go for the flush into it. Poonage, and now it is just a dance around the smoke. Who's going to see who first? Zealot seems like he has an idea on exactly the approach it's going to be coming from, but it's opposite side. Now retreating away from the tree, going to lean out around from it, does a little bit of juke, and there you go. Dignitas goes down, but at the cost of multiple members on Wildcard.
Yeah, that's the problem. They set themselves up for a much better engagement than this, but the hold wasn't successful. They lost 3 members, and no, they could have gone into the late game with 4 members up. It is just Zealot remaining. That's how important and crucial it is to pick your fights wisely. And now Zealot, his only option is
not
really
this way.
Where else can he send it, though? He can't send it to Pachinki. He can't send it to the field. This is really his only option. Slow roll up. I think SSG might know.
Oh.
Yep, they spot him.
Trying to hold it through. He's just got too many people coming after him, as well as the blue. Tap it off there at the end, so Wildcard does get eliminated, leaving us with 7 teams, 22 alive, and really it's going to be trench warfare coming out from here. As you can see, Gascans now looking into Synergy's position. Soniqs still comfortable inside their compound that they're holding down at the time. And there you go. Gascans, nicoos gets a vision on Synergy, making the play on the side. And there you go. It's also going to be Soniqs that gets a little bit of vision on the moves. And that might slow down a little bit of what's going out on the other side. Fisher does manage to take down nicoos. But it is a complete Overwatch position right now, as Gascans thought that they had an opportunity. But between the defensive line holding up for Synergy as well as Soniqs at range, it is very complicated to even take a step forward.
Revive onto nicoos comes out, but it is only 2 remaining for Gascans. Smokes as well for defense to not get shot at as wildly by the Soniqs. But still, with only 2, they're going to have to take care
TSM.
of. Okay, hold that thought. TSM pushing in onto the Soniqs, and a great grenade by Mime.
Perfectly cooked up. 2 members of TSM rolling right into the wrong neighborhood. Space Station Gaming getting a little bit of tap in there, saying, hey, I'll go ahead and take some of those kills. The opposite side of it, SG is going to have to contend with BT as they're making their approach into this one. So now we do have multiple members up for TSM. SSG going to use this opportunity to roll right by where we see Soniqs. TSM holding down position, and they're going to hit the other side of Soniqs. So now Soniqs find themselves pinched between 2 hyper-aggressive teams. 2 members already down for SSG as they make their approach. Now just a defensive line holding up for Soniqs as they've got toys to play with and a great way to defend this.
Shrimzy trapped in a closet, but the flash comes out trying to take the fight. And oh, we actually get taken. It's a trade. But Soniqs still come out on top. SSG might have just crossed their fingers and hoped that Soniqs were only holding the top half and they were going to go for the allegedly weaker team, but Soniqs, they're holding down the entire thing.
That was absolutely insane. The amount of shot calling and the trust and the capabilities and the information processing that Soniqs had to use to handle 2 quick crashes like that and not lose anyone. That was just a masterwork in defense there. Oath, SG, Gascans, it's gonna be rough as still Soniqs holds down position, and that's what these other 3 teams were praying for.
If Gas or SG can finish off their engagement cleanly, and they have a bunch of utility, we could see someone try and pressure Soniqs from the south. But this is only if Oath also pressure Soniqs from the east side at the same time. If you allow Soniqs to focus on one direction at a time with their full 4-man force, then they're winning this game.
I mean, this is hard fought for everybody we're looking through here. Soniqs sitting at 4. SG at 3, Gascans at 2, Oath at 2. Luckily, though, Soniqs are holding a 2-2 split. Unfortunately for everybody, though, Oath keeps venturing down to the south, which is where we're going to see SG and Gascans at. So if we see a 3-way fight between those teams, Soniqs just going to love every second of it, already sitting at 9 kills and just having the capabilities to pick up even more third-partying that.
Waiting for the circle to close. Shifts towards the east. This is good for Oath. This is awful for Gascans and SG, which means that it is still really good for Soniqs. Both those teams in the circle can just focus on the last remaining ones. And then Oath do have an opportunity with Phase 8, unless it shifts back onto the compound, to use the high ground advantage to punish a retreating Soniqs. But again, this is only after they remove SG and Gascans, which, if I'm being honest, is not going to be difficult.
Yeah, I mean, it's... We're looking at a game of trench chicken right now. Whichever team opts into moving first is going to be the team that's just utterly annihilated. They both know that. Gascans trying to see if maybe they can find somebody around off these peaks. If you're caught in these trenches and you know that there's a team in Oath's position, it's just so hard to just try to move anywhere because that high ground negates what little bit of cover you have from that trench.
Like, Oath aren't even allowing Gascans to have a clean push onto SSG without the threat of a third party, because they want the kills, right? Like, there's no big risk to them. And so all the smokes are needed to come out, not necessarily to defend from SSG, but to defend against Oath on the high ground. Ooh, good hit, headshot on a Kickstart. That's going to slow it down. But the grenades are coming in from SG. Gascans forced to hide in the smoke.
Oh, Pippa drops it right on top of nicoos. Now it is just Hikerman trying to see if maybe he can inch his way forward, but SG, they don't care. They're like, we can't even move. We've got Soniqs on the other side of it. Maybe they can harass Oath. And again, this is what Soniqs want. They just want everything to come apart off to the side of it. One member now down for SG as Gascans get eliminated. This is a 2-2 looking at each other while there is still a 4-man Soniqs just waiting with bated breath to see if they can pick up a couple of kills. And SG, that might not be the way to go. There's not too many different options to play with there. It's going to be picked up on both sides. And now it's just Oath versus Soniqs.
Now Soniqs, they see that and they immediately leave their compound, knowing that Oath are all in the corner. It's going to take them a quick second to get back into position to hold this push. Mime is already dead center of phase 7. We have one more shift ahead of us.
That was the hope. That was the hope that I had for Oath, was that they could at least have Circle and get control onto that. But Soniqs already has a read on it, sending Mime into that position. Tiggleton is back up. hwinn is already flanking across the north, making sure that there's nobody playing along the edge. It's just a matter of time till somebody gets vision on Oath, and there you go. It's going to be hwinn harassing, already spotting out, going to feed that information back over. A quick lean off to the side of it, and there you go. Soniqs pick up their first chicken dinner of the weekend.
I think that there was a possibility of Oath of winning out that one. But Soniqs saw what happened in front of them. Even without seeing Oath directly with their own eyes, they read the kill feed. They knew where the positioning was.